Hello everyone, and welcome to another lesson on Excel formatting best practices. In the last lesson, we discussed how you can convert a data table that looks like this and is very hard to read into a properly formatted and neat looking data table like this. In this lesson, we will look at one more example of formatting a data table. Here, I have a data table which has region-wise enrollment data from 2012 to 2025, and we will look at what are the best practices for formatting a data table like this. Once again, let's start by formatting the column headers. In this table, you would notice that there are two column headers. There is enrollment, which is applicable for all of these columns, and then there is the year, which is applicable for each of the respective columns. Therefore, we need to position the enrollment column header centrally across all of these columns. Now there are two ways of doing that. First is I can select all of these cells and click on Merge and Center to position the enrollment column header centrally. However, this is not the best practice. The other option is you can select this range and click Ctrl 1. In the pop-up, go to the Alignment tab and under Horizontal Text Alignment, choose Center Across Selection. When you click OK, you will see that the enrollment column header is centrally located across all of these columns. This option is called Center Across Selection, and it is a very useful option when formatting column headers. We can use the same approach to format the enrollment CAGR column. I can select this range, press Ctrl 1, and from the pop-up, choose Center Across Selection. Now, let's make the column headers bold. And now let's color the column headers with some muted colors. So that's how you can format the column headers. In this case, we are not using borders because the table is small enough and borders are not really required. Now, in this table, we have some row headers. So let's format the row headers. We can select the row headers and make them bold. And now you can choose to give them a different color, or you can leave them white. Using less color makes the table more readable. Therefore, I'm going to leave them white. And now let's format the data columns. These columns contain enrollment. Therefore, they are whole numbers and should be formatted as number. So I press Ctrl 1, and from the pop-up, I go to the Number tab, choose Number, 0 decimal places, 1000 separators, and click OK. Similarly, these cells contain the enrollment growth rate, which is a percentage. So I select the range, press Ctrl 1, and in the pop-up, choose the percentage format. Now all of these cells contain numbers, so they are all right aligned by default. So that's how you can format the data rows of this table. And finally, we have a total row here. The total row summarizes the data in this table. Therefore, we can format this row slightly differently. We can select the row and make it bold, and we can select the row and give it slightly different borders. So I press Ctrl 1. In the pop-up, go to the Border tab, select a gray shade, then choose a single line for the top border and a double line for the bottom border. If you click OK, you can see that the total row has been formatted with a proper border. This kind of border is the standard practice for formatting the total row. And with that, we have formatted this data table neatly and as per the best practices. Things to take away from this lesson are: when you have a column header that should be center aligned across multiple columns, you should use Center Across Selection instead of merging cells. Secondly, when you have row headers, you can format them slightly differently from the other data columns. And finally, if you have a total row in your data table, you can format it slightly differently from the other rows. So these are the best practices for formatting a table like this in Excel. Hope you found this useful, and as always, thanks for watching.